ਪ੍ਰਵਾਸੀ ਦੇ ਸਭ ਲਿਸਨਰਸ ਨੂੰ ਮੀਨਾਕਸ਼ੀ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਵੀ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰੀ ਨਮਸਕਾਰ, ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਆਦਾਬ। ਮੇਰੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ।
ਔਰ ਜੀ ਹਾਂ, ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਿਕਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਅੱਜ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਅੰਟਾਰੀਓ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੈਕੰਡਰੀ ਸਕੂਲਸ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਟੀਚਰਸ ਦੀ ਫੈਡਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਟ ਨੇ ਕੈਰਨ ਲਿਟਲਵੁੱਡ। she is in Halifax right now. She is going to catch a flight, very busy. ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕਰਵਾਈਏ ਔਰ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਫਿਰ ਅਜੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਖਬਰਾਂ ਹੋਰ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਆਓ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਪੋਲਿਸੀ ਹੈ ਅੰਟਾਰੀਓ ਦੀ, ਇਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਫੋਰਫਰੰਟ ਤੇ ਹੈ, ਉਹਦੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਕੈਰਨ, ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਸੀ ਐਂਡ ਗੁੱਡ ਆਫਟਰਨੂਨ ਨਾਓ।
It's great to be here.
ਜੀ, so I have Meenakshi with me, my wife Meenakshi Saini, our co-host.
Yeah, hi Karen, how are you doing?
I'm great, Meenakshi. I hope you're doing well too.
Yeah, thanks. First of all, we wanted to ask you about the federation, the Ontario Secondary School Teachers Federation. Tell us more about the federation.
Absolutely. Thanks for asking about it too, because, you know, we're often referred to as a teachers union, but we aren't. We have about 60,000 members. About 40,000 are teachers in the public high schools in Ontario, but the other 20,000 are education workers or support staff. Some are early childhood educators, some are educational assistants, we have psychologists, we have speech and language pathologists, custodians, secretaries, and we also have support staff workers in 6 Ontario universities. So we have an incredibly diverse membership in OSSTF, and we also have some support workers in the French boards too. So we cover everything in education in Ontario, and that's really why we're focusing so much time on the election and what needs to be done for education going forward.
Yeah, that's right. And the education system was in the forefront for the elections this time. So there was also a lot of talking going on about this in last night's debate. So what do you have to say about that?
So the debate was interesting. There was a stark contrast between the current premier and the rest of the leaders who were there. I appreciate when people can just speak very strongly, confidently, and they know their facts and figures. It's not a problem if somebody needs to have notes to answer questions, but I think we have to look at who we'd like to have leading our province and the skill set that we need to build for recovery. It was really great to hear 3 of the leaders, Mike Schreiner and Andrea Horvath and Stephen Del Duca, mentioning education so much, and the fact that a lot of what's in our education platform is reflected in what they're saying and what they know is important going forward. That was good to hear. I didn't hear a whole lot about education from Mr. No, his priority is highways. The budget document that's not really a budget document was really more of an election campaign document. The cover of it is the busiest part of the 401, and that's where his priorities are, in my opinion. They are supporting developers and looking at what we need to do perhaps for highways, but I think what we need to do is look at the people of the province and what they need to recover from COVID. We're a very prosperous province. Why don't we treat education as the priority it should be and invest in it?
Yeah, Karen, in last night's debate, Mr. Ford was under fire for firing, teachers or for abolishing teachers' jobs. Similarly, not investing too much in the education system, which is the need of the hour. Mr. Duca defended his plan. So was Andrea Horvath. But we couldn't see any concrete plan from the PC government.
No, and it's the same thing as last time around. We had Buck-a-Beer last time, and that was the whole campaign that they had. Their promises they're making this time again are really much more for highways and development, and I agree we need that in the province. But what we need as well is to make sure that the students of the province get what they need, that they get the supports that they need, that the adults are in the building to support the students, whether in junior kindergarten or in university or in adult ed. And what we're not seeing is that support being evident from anything that Mr. Ford is saying. It's disappointing. He had some really well scripted answers, but they didn't answer the questions. They were talking points that he was giving over and over again, where the other leaders really were addressing the issues and trying to say what's needed in the province. It's like I said, it was a really stark contrast between the three leaders and the fourth one.
Yeah.
Also, the ramifications of pandemic, there are physical problems, the physical issues which have been going on, but then there is so much mental strain on the health of the students, and so much anxiety issues the students are dealing with that. So what do you have to say about that, that how the Federation is dealing with this issue?
Yeah, mental health is really a concern going forward for all of the citizens of the province. We've gone through a very surreal kind of time, and we're trying to gently get back into what things were like before. I don't think we need to go back to exactly what it was, because we do have issues in Ontario. But, you know, just looking overall at the plans going forward and what needs to be done, we have to be addressing the needs of everybody in the province. I know that some of the opposition parties, leaders have mentioned mental health support. We're not hearing that. And please remember, one of the first things that the Ford government did when they were elected was they were going to change the funding formula for secondary schools. And while that doesn't seem like a big deal, and people say, you know, 28-1, I had bigger classes, that's the money that goes into the schools. And they were going to cut it and increase so that a quarter of the teachers would be gone from the system. The classes would be 35, 36, 37. That's not what's needed. What we need is a commitment to smaller class sizes, to individual support,
Precisely.
to dismantling anti-Black racism. You know, there's so much that we need to do. And again, Ford talks about highways.
Okay, Karen, teachers are being considered as the national builders, and you know, you guys have very, very important role to play in the society. So do our doctors, our nurses, our health
Yes.
staff. So we understand that the present government is saying them heroes. You guys did a wonderful job. Our healthcare workers did a wonderful job during pandemic. But we believe you guys are not being compensated whatever you have contributed during this pandemic.
Well, absolutely. So the nurses got $5,000 in their pocket. It was non-pensionable. It did little to ensure that anybody wanted to stick around. There's so many people in healthcare that have left the profession, and that's what's happening in education too. We have people who've decided, I just can't handle this stress. The constant change, the lack of planning, the sudden, okay, well, you're just going to go to online tomorrow and you'll have it already. It gives absolutely no credibility. It says there's no respect at all for the education workers in the province, and we are stuck under Bill 124, which caps all increases to 1%. I believe the cost of living, we're at about, inflation is 6.7% right now. Nobody is able to keep up. Gas is over $2 a liter. Who can afford to continue to go on and make sure that the province keeps running? This is really incredibly challenging, but again, we're not hearing all of the concrete plans from the current government. We need a new government on June 2nd.
Okay, Karen, being, parents of a school-going daughter, our daughter is in grade 10 right now. And we also dealt with, as parents, we also dealt with this pandemic situation. And moreover, I feel, honored to tell you that Meenakshi was also a teacher back home, and she really loves this profession. So I believe Meenakshi has a couple of questions more for you.
Yeah, I do
Sure.
really have a huge respect for teachers. I have come from the same background as well. And also, see, I was seeing how the teachers are trying to help the students when they're online. Some teachers, some students are in person, some are online. At the same time, they have to cater to both the, streams.
Hybrid system.
In the hybrid system also, they have to cater to both the streams of the students. And the teachers have been a very helpful, hand in taking care of the students, of the kids at this moment, in these times, especially when they were all of a sudden, as you're saying, they were told to go online. They had to be prepared in a moments to be able to give their services, and it means a lot for not only the students but the families as a whole.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. The hybrid system, and just to explain to everybody, that's where you have a teacher in a classroom with a laptop, you have students in the classroom, and you have students somewhere else. probably at home, but hard to say. Nobody gets the attention that they need. And the teachers feel so badly about not being able to address the needs of their students, not being able to connect with their students, not being able to provide those supports. The whole school community, custodians, secretaries, they all play a part in developing the hearts and minds of the students so that they can become taxpayers going forward. Quite frankly, that's what we need. We need to be able to make sure that we have citizens who are well educated. Every dollar you spend on education comes back as $1.37. It is an investment. You save money on the penal system and on social services and absolutely on health care. But what we're running into right now in healthcare and education is a shortage of adults to do those different jobs. What's happening is people are quitting. They're going on to something else. They're saying enough is enough. There's been I think they're calling it the great resignation from COVID, where people are quitting their job. Well, what are we going to do to support the students going forward then? We need the mental health workers. We need to make sure that we have all of those supports in place. And we also have, like I said, we have a shortage, but then we have a college of teachers where candidates, faculty, students are graduated and they wait 5 or 6 months for their paperwork before they can actually get a job. There's no excuse for that. To me, I feel like we're in the middle of let's create a crisis here and let's just blow up education. It seems to be that the Ford government just really wants to destroy education in Ontario and bring it back as a private entity.
Yeah, as you're mentioning that they take a lot of time assessing those papers only, and there is so much influx coming from other countries as well. The teachers were coming from other countries, but their paperwork takes so much time that the teachers actually tend to choose some other professions like I did.
Right. Yeah, no, there are people who are qualified who could be working, who would like to be working, yet instead the Ford government says, well, there's a clause in the Education Act that anybody with a high school diploma can come and sit and supervise a classroom. Well, education, I've said this before, it doesn't come out of a vending machine. You don't just get to press the button and out comes the lesson and everybody is engaged and educated. There's a lot of work that goes into the preparation. We talked earlier about the wage restraints and the really, we have people who are making minimum wage in OSSTF because of the job that they have. We're not all those, multimillionaires. You would hear that, and that's a criticism that teachers' unions, per se, get, but that's not the case, and it's not the reality.
Okay, Karen, I could see your schedule. You are traveling all over the province during this election time. I'm sure Teachers Federation must be endorsing few candidates, keeping in mind their policy on education system. So you have to share something with us on that?
For sure, absolutely. So on our OSSTF.on.ca website, there is a list of endorsed candidates. And what you will notice on that list is there are no blue lines of candidates because we have not found any conservative candidates who would like to talk about our platform or would reflect what they're trying to put forward in the election. But we do have a large number of NDP candidates, some Liberal candidates, and 2 Green Party candidates as well. We did not necessarily do endorsements in every riding, but what we did was we asked our local leaders to interview all candidates to find those who best reflected our goals and values and our education platform as OSSTF. We're working in education. We know what's needed in education. And so the list that we have on our website, and we update it regularly, are those who are the endorsed candidates. So we thought, you know what? We want our members to get out and vote, volunteer, and donate. Why wouldn't we want to make public declarations of these endorsements? And that's exactly what we're doing. I'm on a 20-some day tour across the province, holding press conferences, showing the candidates that we support them, but also telling them, when you are elected, we will hold you accountable. You're saying that you will support education, and we will hold you accountable to that.
Okay, though our radio is widely listened all over Ontario, even in Canada, many parts of Canada, but our dense population or dense, listenership is in Brampton. Do you have any, names in your mind to share with us in this area?
So I believe it was last week. The days kind of run together in my current schedule, but we endorsed Sarah Singh in Brampton Centre, Garatan Singh as well in Brampton East, Andrea Barrett in Brampton South, Navjeet Kaur in Brampton West, and
In Mississauga?
Prendergast in Dufferin-Caledon too.
Okay. Who in Dufferin-Caledon?
Her name is Tess Prendergast, and she's with the EP as well.
Any name in Mississauga?
Yeah, so Mississauga is an interesting area. We have some Liberal candidates in Mississauga. So Samira Malik, we did these endorsements as well last week. So Samira Malik, Deepika Demerla, Imran Mian, Elizabeth Mendez, and Jill Promoli were all endorsed by us, and they came to the press conference, and they were just thrilled to know that they have the support of over 60,000 education workers in the province, and we're begging our members to get out and to work and to volunteer with these candidates and do canvassing to make sure that they vote. I remind everybody, you can find your local returning office and you can vote every day from 10 to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. You can go and you can vote now so that you can spend more time supporting these candidates.
Okay. Thank you, Karen. And anything you want to ask?
Well, thanks, Karen. Keep up the good work. Thank you for talking to us. Thanks.
Thanks a lot for talking to us. We could get enough information from you, and we hope that the next government, whosoever party is forming that, they must put lots of investment in health and education system.
Yes, so thank you so much. It's really helpful for us to be able to let people know that education should be a priority and it is an investment. And Rajinder and Meenakshi, I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to speak a bit about the election and the debate.
Thank you so much, Karen. Talk to you sometime again.